set. I mean, Xel'Naga Caverns almost certainly the map that will be downvoted by nestea going into this set number 2.
Yeah, looking at the last sheet that we were given for this, it was Xel'Naga Caverns and Abyssal Caverns.
Yeah.
Doesn't like to play in the cavernous areas, which makes sense. So we would go to a third map of Shakuris if nestea was able to win that.
Yeah.
And this is pretty similar to what we saw, I believe, in the first set between them. Shakuris was the first map. Shadow Temple was the second.
Yeah, in this tournament, with that one downvote map rule, the players have been able to sort of manipulate that to their advantage. Abyssal Caverns is one of the latter maps that is not really played too much in many leagues. But in this tournament, we're seeing some of the league players downvote that, and more of the latter players forcing that to be in that pool again. But I think with these players having that GSL history, they're probably going to play on the exact same set, but perhaps in a slightly different order. Yeah,
I would pretty much agree. It looks like our admins are getting the new map, Sean. So just a little bit longer, and then we'll be getting this next series started. The grand finals of Blizzcon 2011.
And of course, how are the nestea fans doing tonight? And let's see if the MVP fans can answer with a louder cheer.
Now, I got to ask, Sean.
Yeah.
Let's see who's from what community here. So,
yeah.
do we have any Team Liquid visitors here in the crowd? All right. Now, what about the Reddit/r/Starcraft fans? Anyone out there? Reddit with a big showing, Sean.
And of course, who came more than 1,000 miles to be here today?
Wow.
That is what I am talking about.
That is awesome.
That is so awesome. Looks like the map selection will be over shortly. And you know what? One of my absolute favorite people in the entire StarCraft community was able to make it out today. JP McDaniel.
Well, thank you, Sean.
JP.
I gotta ask, anyone a fan of Sir Sean Plott right here? Day 9 TV. Anyone else watch that on the crowd?
Look at all those better gamers out there. Yeah, look at the hearts. Can everyone do this? Can everyone make a heart up there? And of course, we get a shot of the heart. Very good. Very good. You see how much nerd love there is in the crowd tonight? And of course, the most important thing to do as we're here at the grand finals, everyone here showed up for this extraordinary SC2 finals match. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the person next to you, because that person is your friend. Don't do it like, please talk amongst yourself. Yeah, hi, hey, I came from Sweden. Yeah, I'm from California. How far did you come? Yes, excellent, good. Because that's the best part about BlizzCon is so often we get the chance to log on to play with our friends over Battle.net, but now we get the chance to see everyone who came out to celebrate these awesome games. And of course, the biggest shout out of all time to Blizzard Entertainment. You are so nice for making StarCraft 2.
All right, Sean, so I have been given the word. We're going to the same exact map order and map pool.
It's an entire reset. Looks like the players are in the game. It will be on Antigua Shipyard. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for round number 2?
The game has been started, Sean. I am so excited. We're going into the second set here between nestea and MVP, BlizzCon 2011 Grand Finals. This is as good as it gets, man.
$50,000 on the line for this final match. And again, it begins in cross-map positions. In the north spot, the man who looked so futile in his winner's bracket match, but showed a dominating performance to reset the series. It is IM's MVP.
And in the south, the man who won the first time these two met, but lost the second time. Can he come back and win this? We'll have to see. From Team IM, it is nestea.
What was so weird to me about watching MVP play in that first game on Antigua Shipyard is that he was very aggressive with those Hellions, running them into positions where they clearly would die off, and he would need to kill a lot of drones to have justified such a big loss of those Hellions. And still, MVP correctly did that every single time. MVP rarely ever makes those kind of plays, instead opting to conserve his units rather than hoping for those big kills.
Now, what do you do right now in nestea's position? You're in the second set here in the grand finals. You lost the first set. Do you go out of the ordinary and go for an all-in, or Do you just play normally like you did last series?
nestea, I think, was having a little bit too much ease of mind in those last sets. He was doing these goofy, silly moves like adding on Roach Warren, canceling it, and trying to get some surprise Mutalisks into the fray. That can work against some players, but I absolutely don't think it would work against MVP. Same story with the surprise attack in game number 2. nestea needs to rely on his strength, the long-term macro game, but it looks like MVP is going to answer with some macro of his own. How about a command center first, ladies and gentlemen?
And that is some stuff that I love to see, Sean. No aggression. We're going to see a macro-oriented game here for the first game of this second set.
MVP was going to have himself a massive economy and might even add on a reactor, a assimilator, a refinery. Look, he wants gas, damn it, but no, he's going to build a barracks first. And down in nestea's main, yep, getting that early extractor as well himself.
Yeah, nothing crazy coming out of nestea. What we really have to pay attention to is how many drones he builds at his natural. If he doesn't make too many, he might go for a big all-in like we saw the first time these two met on Shattered Temple.
Double barracks play from MVP, and this is always what really excites me. We're seeing a lot of players rely on those Blue Flame Hellion mid games. Very strong opening, but it is always something special to see the way MVP can be so precise with his marine control. Almost up to 19 food, but he's not actually going to build that one supply depot because look at the timing of this last command center that's going to be popping up. It will align nicely with this barracks.
Now, with this early expansion, is he going to try to put some pressure on as well with this 2 racks? Or will he just kind of sit back and possibly maybe even get a third if he sees his opponent playing a little bit passive?
I actually think that what MVP will likely end up doing is taking a very early 3rd command center. This composition of 2 barracks can get him a good amount of Marines to defend kind of an open space. 1 barracks would be fine in this semi-closed space, but I very much so love the way that MVP is extremely liberal with planting down those future expansions.
We see 2 more racks going down for MVP.
Wow.
This is something I have seen him do before. He's going to have a ton of Marines and probably push forward and try to catch his opponent off guard. As we see the command center lifted now, will be landing at the natural. Meanwhile, over in camp nestea, he is continuing to drone, but he's also getting the metabolic boost upgrade. Of course, speed for the Lings, but we'll see how long he actually drones, Sean.
Now nestea continuing to drone in that unit station. Like you said, 2 Zerglings, 2 Queens are out. 3rd Queen incoming. nestea now getting ready to start expanding that creep. He's also moving Overlords into those key positions on the map to spot for drops. nestea never misses a beat with those Overlords. Meanwhile, in the main, we see that the 4 barracks are finishing up. MVP could potentially go for an almost exclusively Marine Marauder composition, but I still am leaning more towards him, favoring a very early 3rd command center.
nestea droning this entire time. Looks like he will be going to take his 3rd as the drone does move out, and we see that hatchery already in place right there at his 3rd base. Meanwhile, we still have a lot of Marines coming out for MVP. Total of 9 right now. We do also have a tech lab finished. What upgrade will he be getting? Probably going to be stim pack, I would think.
There's the stim going down.
Oh, so stim builds right there, and he does have another tech lab actually.
Wow, 2 Marauders as well. MVP is gearing up to be very aggressive. Again, quite uncommon with the way his style plays out. nestea expectedly taking that early 3rd hatchery, but he's got to get a good amount of Banelings to be able to hold off this push that's coming from MVP. But remember, the strength of nestea is his timings for defense. He'll definitely be able to have enough Banelings up in time.
Yeah, we see him already stockpiling that gas. Probably won't see him use too much of it. There is a 4th hatch going up at his natural. Love to see those macro hatches as well as the evolution chamber. Meanwhile, over in MVP space, he's still continuing to add on a lot of Marines as well as some Marauders. He's getting that combat shield, getting that stim pack. We might see a big timing attack here from MVP.
MVP is literally doing nothing but making workers, Marines, and Marauders. He's starting to gear up for a huge push, but nestea is in perfect position to repel it. He's getting his layer up. He's getting these macro hatches up. His Evo chambers are just now beginning to research those Zergling upgrades as his extractor count begins to climb high. It's going to get increasingly dangerous for MVP the longer the game goes on.
Now, Sean, just look at the 2 Queens here at the natural and the main of nestea. I don't think he's missed a single larva inject thus far in the game.
I literally think nestea has had perfect larva injects every single time, but now nestea sees what's coming at him. It is a big Marine Marauder force. And look at this brilliance by MVP.
So
He's
smart.
leading with a smaller amount of Marines. And what will nestea see? Only this few Marines.
No, We do have 4 banelings being morphed right here at the natural, but producing 26 lings. Are they going to be out in time? I'm not so sure. We do have Stim very close to being finished, as well as the combat shield. This is going to be a very, very important attack right now in this game, Sean.
Still 20 seconds to go for that Stim pack to finish up. A nice scan by MVP. He's spreading everything out. This is a lot of banelings from nestea, and he's slowly going to climb in Zergling count as well. But MVP knows that he really can't push until he has Stim. He may go for this swing around attack, though, but he's got to be careful. All his units are clustering up.
Looks like he's going to start on these destructible rocks, and what is nestea going to do? He's still waiting just a little bit. I'm not sure if you can actually see this. MVP spreading his Marine and Marauders out as best as he can. Nestea's holding steady, though. The scan comes down. He sees the entire army.
Oh my gosh, MVP sees everything. But right now, nestea is in a good position. He has those upgrades, and he has the centrifugal hooks. The speed upgrade for Baneling started. And look at this brilliance by MVP. He is just going to pull back. Oh no, this is a great move by MVP. He sees everything that's coming out, and he is going to pull back. That is the trademark MVP play. He moves out, forces his opponent to waste probably 20 to 30 larvae right there, just making units. And in that time, absolutely no drones could be made by nestea. MVP is going to pull back and do a stronger follow-up push.
115 supply right now for nestea, 95 for MVP, 73 total drones already for nestea. That is so many drones here, only at the 10-minute mark. 46 SCVs there for MVP, and he's just going to fall back. Do we have some medevacs coming out? Yes, we do. He might go for some drops, but nestea already has some spine crawlers in place at his main and I believe at his natural.
MVP at this point in time desperately needs to add reactors onto these barracks. There comes a point where your income exceeds the amount that you can produce out of all your buildings. And the easiest way for Terran to do this is to build a lot of barracks early with no reactors, and then simply get reactors up, and then you can easily catch up in your production. But the problem is, you actually need to have a good timing window when those reactors are producing, as they do take that very long 50 seconds to build.
Looks like nestea does want to attack, but he's got to wait for those Mutalisks to come out. He's sitting here in the middle of the map with his Lings, with his Banelings that do have the +1 upgrade, so that is going to be very, very beneficial. And nestea's moving forward a little bit more with his Lings and Banelings. The scan does come down, but
oh
Sean,
my gosh.
Is he going to move in with those? It looks like he did catch a couple of Marines off guard.
Caught
He's
a
not going
small
to pull the
troop
Banelings
off guard, and we see here's the drop. MVP is starting to fall way behind in that worker count. There's all the, oh wow, a lot of reactors getting planted. MVP also takes out a single Overlord.
We see the drone is coming in here. It is quite far away though, but this drop will get cleaned up. He needs to make sure that the Lings go in first so he doesn't lose too much HP on those Mutas, but MVP's controlling so well, he can't actually get the surround here with the Lings he picks up. Here come the Mutalisks.
And it looks like, is MVP actually going to pull this one off? He's unloading, he picks off one. He does manage to get, maybe he can get a second one.
Now I think we might see a big attack here from nestea. Already up to 12 Mutas, 3 more on the way, 30 Lings in production right now. How many Banelings does he have, Sean? Only 21, but that is almost all you need right now.
Only 21 Banelings.
Well, if you remember right, I mean, nestea's the kind of guy that's done 100 before, Sean.
That is true, but I still felt that was very Bill Gates of you. What do you have, only 3 Rolls Royces? 21 Banelings, that's plenty Banelings. 100 Zerglings, pretty good as well. And right now, these Mutalisks trying to also chip away at those destructible rocks, and MVP is in amazing defensive position. nestea is maxed. 196, 199, 200, and he is going in for
he's trying to get a tank. He does get one. Is that all that he wants, or does he want some more? He's trying to find the point of entry into the main base. But, oh, there we go, Sean. 14 more Banelings in production.
Perfect.
This is what I'm talking about.
Always part of a healthy diet. Banelings have a lot of vitamin B12. In other words, they really wake you up, JP. Wah, wah, wah. We also see the Marine production continuing to go out as fast as possible. And here's the big push from nestea.
Is it going to be enough? All the siege tanks are almost gone. nestea is destroying MVP right here, Sean.
Domination.
There is a Thor up on the high ground, but he's going to deny the third base of MVP.
Oh, the poor mules get surrounded, cleaned up. Marines trying to move forward, but the Baneling numbers so high. Doing a good job continuing to pick those off. One hit does manage to land, and the command center falls.
And you know that Thor is still there. He doesn't want to move in just yet with all those Mutas, but he has a ton of Lings coming cross map, Sean.
nestea taking the entire map, overrunning the front lines in the center. and the bottom and the right. Expansions everywhere.
Should be
very
seeing
little that he can do. Marines continuing to pop out. The Thor desperately trying to repair.
Should be seeing a GG here, I would think, pretty soon. MVP is just so far down. 165 supply, 67 for MVP. The Thor is still alive, though.
An incredible
If he
defense
takes out those
by
mutas,
MVP. Oh,
there's the Thor falling.
Marines now come out
GG.
again. And good game.
nestea, is he going to be able to come back and win this, Sean?
nestea showing such solid Zergburst Terran play. I mean, you think about the way MVP intended to open up. MVP said, I'm going to move out with a bunch of Marines, Marauders early on, force you to not build those drones. And even after all that early pressure, MVP was still behind nestea by 20 full workers after that attack faltered. So that means that nestea is one game away from a $50,000 first place prize, and MVP would be heartbroken to lose two major championships one day after the other.